Welcome everybody. Oh, my desk is becoming a mess. I'm packing the auction winners. So I've moved my auction supplies out of the way to be a little less ugly. There we go. All right. There we go. We'll move here. We'll get our troll. There we go. They're ready. The goat and the chipmunk are ready. Welcome everybody. How are we all doing tonight? Let me get YouTube or TikTok going and then we are set. Boom. Up. Minnesota's freezing. Yeah, it's kind of freezing in DC too. I'm not very happy about. But what do you do? A little weird though. I mean, not weird. It's just like all of a sudden freezing, like winter here. Anyway, hello TikTokers. Welcome all. Hello. Angela, Kathy, and Declan, our three first. Welcome, guys. Three first on TikTok. We got our YouTubers as well here today. Welcome all. Sue, deny, defend, oppose. I know, that was kind of creepy. Very weird. The latest on the story of the shooter in New York City. And it looks like they may have a photo of the guy, which is fascinating too. I mean, they're trying to be careful, which you need to be. Thank you, Elizabeth, for the gift. But yeah, interesting story that. Thank you, Jorge. So welcome, everybody. My back is the same. I'm actually going for my little procedure tomorrow. They booked me early. Thank you, Life. Thank you, Running. Thank you, Succeed. You're 60 today. Happy birthday, DBZ. Bjorn, thank you. Anyway, yeah, so kind of wild. My back, I've got a pinched nerve. Well, in layman's term, I have a pinched nerve in my back. More complicated terms, cervical radiculopathy, where the spine starts changing and it somehow impinges on the nerve, although it kind of depends. Thank you, Christina. It kind of depends whether it's the disc squeezing or whether it's stenosis irritating the nerves. There's all sorts of possibilities, but bottom line is the nerve is irritated and it's making my fingers numb. So no, they're going to do the steroid injection that I had about 8 years ago. So, going to comment on TikTok with my new account. Can you remod you? Yes. Do that right now, Amanda. So I've got to add Amanda. Thank you, cool. Thank you, Russell. Yeah, let's see tomorrow. I mean, hoping tomorrow, let's see. Hoping tomorrow the little shot helps. Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Mark. Sorry, waiting for Amanda to. There you are. I'm here. All right. Let's see. Add moderator. All righty. Let's get some more customized perks. Similarly chats. All right. She's back. Woo-woo. There we go. Hey, puppy. So anyway, yes. So very fun. La, la, la. So I get a little steroid injection in my back tomorrow. That's going to be fun. But what do you do? 3 discs replaced in your neck. Oh, wow. Yeah, mine fortunately is not, it is not causing nerve damage yet, which is good because the myelopathy is when you get nerve damage. So I don't have weakness or anything, but it's just, it hurts. It's like a knife in my back. That's why people it actually looks like I'm being more casual because I'm leaning back in the chair. So even for you guys, I'm kind of hanging out. Normally I would sit up straight, but if I sit up straight, it starts to be like a slow knife going in my back, right in my shoulder blade. But if I lean back, if I slouch, it's totally fine. So we're just kind of doing the show where I'm leaning via Spinal Tap. Almost. Anyway, exactly. Chilled out. This is Chilled Out John, where I'm leaning back kind of like, hey, welcome. Anyway, welcome, guys. I am John Aravosis. This is my show. We hang out. We talk about the latest in the war in Ukraine. We also talk about other news going on. We'll talk a little bit today about Syria, some of that news. Casual Thursday. So kind of like that, yeah. That news. We'll see how I'm feeling tomorrow. I'm guessing I should feel fine around showtime because I'm getting my little injection around noon. So if not, I'll let the mods know. But if you don't see me tomorrow night, I'm either dead or not feeling well from the shot, but we shall see. Hopefully fine. But any case, so welcome, guys. We will start. Just a reminder, I always tell people at the end of the week, thank you, Laddie, for the gift. Saturday mornings are our coffee talk or coffee talk on TikTok that we do for the paid monthly subscribers. Thank you, Crazy American. Basically, there's lots of ways of supporting my show. You can give gifts on TikTok and YouTube, which I very much like. You can also buy a monthly membership. Thank you, Larissa. You can buy a monthly membership, and the monthly memberships are basically just a way of contributing each month. It's, I don't know, $5, $6, $7, something like that. But it sort of helps in the aggregate if a lot of people do it, because then it's more assured income, because I do this for my job. So it helps people chip in. But as a thank you, every Saturday morning, I do yeah, it should be okay, Jeff. Thank you for the meerkat there, Iggy. Every Saturday morning, I do a show exclusively for the paid monthly subscribers. Thank you, Richard. A private show as my thank you for folks. And I do it on TikTok and YouTube, and actually Discord as well. TikTok's for TikTok subscribers. YouTube's for YouTube subscribers. Discord is for Discord, Ko-fi, Twitter, Twitch, etc. Very easy. It's 11 a.m. Eastern time, US. So join us Saturday morning. TikTokers, anybody who has SNN next to your name, you are a monthly subscriber. Chain just subscribed. Excellent. You are a monthly subscriber. Sometimes you got it as a gift. So some of you may have, like Shane, I don't know if you subscribed or somebody bought you it, but sometimes people can give a gift subscription for a month. So anyway, if you've got SNN next to your name, it stands for Sasha News Network, because my dog's name is Sasha. So it was a joke. We weren't sure what to put there. TikTok makes you put something. Thank you, real life. Oh, Jorge. Okay, so Jorge gave a gift that Shane got. So there you go. Thank you, Jorge. Thank you, Martha, as well. So yeah, so if you've got SNN next to your name on TikTok, you can join us Saturday morning. Thank you, Max Trax. I just boxed up your camouflage net, actually, by the way. And on TikTok, anybody whose name is green or a TikTok, losing my mind already. YouTube, anybody whose name is green, and moderators. Actually, Amanda, I don't think moderators, right? YouTube doesn't let me let the moderators in, I think, do they? I don't think so. Any case, so yeah, so Max, your camouflage net and the bracelet are already packed up. Everybody else who succeeded in the auctions for the last 2 weeks, I'm now packing everything. It's a lot. I was waiting to see if people had multiple bids and I would put them together. They didn't. The two auctions were totally different people. So now I've got like 20 things I've got to box. So it's like Christmas here. Thank you, Shelly. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Maku. All right, so let's get rolling, guys. Today is day 1015 of Vladimir Putin's special military operation in Ukraine. We talked about the coffee talk, which is going to be Saturday morning. Today is also the 30th anniversary of the Budapest Memorandum. Budapest Memorandum was a very bad thing in the end. Basically, President Clinton got the Ukrainians to agree back in the early 1990s, 1994, to give up their nuclear weapons. Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union blew up. You know, we won. We won the Cold War. Soviets lost. Haha. Thank you, Carol. And as part of it, their country fell apart. Soviet Union was basically, I kind of like to call the Soviet Union a country that was made up of 15 separate countries. One was Russia that ran the show, and the other 14 countries more or less were hostages. And together they were the Soviet Union, but they were really like, you know, imagine a big amoeba that's eating a lot of little smaller animals or something, right? And everybody's stuck inside, but it's really Russia that ate everybody else. Well, they fell apart after World War II, after the Cold War, 1991, Soviet Union dissolved, didn't exist anymore. Russians lost the Cold War. And as part of that, all the hostages became independent. Ukraine became independent. Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, right? All these countries, Georgia, became independent. Well, a number of the countries had nuclear weapons, which is very interesting, right? Ukraine ended up inheriting thousands of nuclear weapons from the Soviet Union because they were in Ukraine. Well, the Russians didn't want Ukraine to have Soviet weapons, right? The Americans also didn't want it. I mean, there was, you know, legitimate concern. In retrospect, it was a mistake, but there was legitimate concern when the Soviet Union was dissolving, that you had 15 different countries arising from one, right? Possible conflicts of territory, right? Territory disputes. Several of them had nuclear weapons. Russia had nuclear weapons. Belarus did too, I believe. Ukraine had nuclear weapons. Did anybody else have nukes? Kazakhstan, I think, had nukes. Does anybody remember who else had nukes? But you had at least three. I think Kazakhstan did too. So you had multiple countries that had nuclear weapons because the Soviet Union fell apart. And right? All of a sudden, you went from one country that had nukes, the Soviet Union, to 3 or 4 or more. Belarus, yep, I mentioned Belarus. That's a little scary, right? I mean, it's nuclear proliferation. So the U.S. pretty much convinced Ukraine. President Biden convinced Ukraine, President Clinton, that it was in their best interest to give up their nuclear weapons. Thank you, Marsha, for the gift. To give up their nuclear weapons. And in exchange, the U.S., Britain, the Russians, the Ukrainians would all sign a document called the Budapest Memorandum, in which more or less the U.S., Russia promises never to invade Ukraine. They lied. They invaded twice, as we know. The Brits and the Americans promised to defend Ukraine if Russia invades. They kind of lied. Not totally lied, but 2014, Russia invaded. None of us did much. This time around, the Russians invaded again, even more. And we helped, but we didn't want them to win. Not really the Brits' fault. It was Biden's fault. It was the Germans' fault, the French fault. We didn't want Ukraine to win. We wanted a tie. We were afraid of Ukraine winning because, oh my God, Vladimir Putin has nuclear weapons. What if he gets angry? Oh my God. So Ukraine gives up its nuclear weapons for a promise that Russia's never going to invade, and a piece of paper that says if Russia does invade, in essence, the Brits and the Americans are promising to go to war for Ukraine. In essence, didn't happen, right? So kind of screwed Ukraine. In retrospect, Ukraine should have kept its nuclear weapons. If Ukraine had nukes, Russia would have been way more careful about invading. It was a huge mistake. So it's the 30th anniversary of that document, which, of course, kind of is how we got to where we are today, which is very bad. Yes, the chipmunk. That is kind of funny. The chipmunk does look like he's kind of hanging out. Here, we'll put the goat there so you can see him too. There we go. The chipmunk is waiting to weigh in. So anyway, 30th anniversary of Budapest Memorandum, not a good thing. Donald Trump. So Reuters had an interesting article today about sort of trying to summarize the latest on what's going on with Trump and his, peace proposal for Ukraine. Trump has no peace proposal for Ukraine. This should not surprise us. Donald Trump lies a lot, pathologically. He always makes stuff up and says it, and it's not true. So Trump kept saying, I've got a plan for Ukraine. The day I'm elected, within 24 hours, peace will break out in Ukraine. It's been more than 24 hours. Peace did not break out. Trump has no idea what he's doing. There are 3 main plans being discussed, according to Reuters. And let me just walk you through them. So the let me see which one we got first here. 3 main proposals. One former Trump national security official involved in the transition said there are 3 main proposals. The outline by Kellogg. General Kellogg is the guy Trump picked to be a sort of his special envoy for Ukraine and Russia to try to resolve the war. He's actually not terrible, people say. He said some good things, which is good. He actually, which is very interesting because I can't imagine Trump would agree with this. He was interviewed the other day, and he was talking about Biden letting the Ukrainians fire into Russia. And he said that basically that was helpful because it gave Trump more leverage over the war with Russia, which I was kind of shocked that he said that because I can't imagine Trump agrees with that. But nonetheless, or any of the sort of MAGA types, but still, you got General Kellogg. So you got the one guy that was, so you got 3 sort of proposals. One by General Kellogg, the guy Trump has nominated or whatever, picked to be a special envoy for Ukraine and Russia negotiations. You've got J.D. Vance, the couch potato, the vice president, to be, and you've got Rick Grenell, my personal favorite, who's kind of an asshole, and was secretary. What the hell was he? He was a director of national intelligence or acting ambassador to Germany, gay Republican, kind of a dick, basically, kind of a Twitter troll. He would be a TikTok troll would be Rick Grenell. Sort of a hyperactive TikTok troll would be the best way to describe Rick. I know him. I do not like him. So let's start first. General Kellogg. The Kellogg's plan, presented to Trump earlier this year, calls for freezing the current battle lines. Trump would supply more U.S. weapons to Kyiv only if it agreed to peace talks. So that's fine. At the same time, he would warn Moscow that he would increase U.S. aid to Ukraine if Russia rejected negotiations. So Trump would say, Ukraine, you better agree to negotiate or I'm cutting off weapons. Ukraine, of course, is going to say, yes, we'll negotiate. Russia, you better agree to negotiations or I'm giving Ukraine even more weapons. That's interesting. Now, the final thing is Ukraine would be offered U.S. security guarantees, which is kind of a joke, which could include boosting weapon supplies once an accord is struck. Meaning, Ukraine would be told, if you reach a deal with Russia, the U.S. will guarantee your security. You may recall 5 minutes ago, we talked about what today is. Today is the anniversary of the 30-year-old U.S. security guarantee that we didn't keep, to promise to basically go to war if Ukraine got invaded. We didn't. So the notion that the U.S. is going to promise Ukraine, I know this time we didn't help you enough. This time we were afraid of Vladimir Putin and his nuclear weapons, but next time he invades, we won't be afraid of his nuclear. I mean, right? If all of these crazy people, the Biden people were terrified of Putin's nuclear weapons. The Trump people are even more terrified. The Trump people are either owned by Putin. That's the first problem, right? Trump just, there's something weird going on with Trump and Putin, or they are terrified of Putin, right? So either they love the guy, they want to be Russians, or they're terrified of the Russians. Remember all the Trump people and the MAGA people, there's going to be a nuclear war. Oh my God, you're Tucker Carlson, nuclear war. Well, if there's going to be a nuclear war, thank you, Russell, with Russia over Ukraine this time, why would we get involved next time Russia involves, right? Russia invades in 5 years again. They still have nukes. Why would it not be the same nuclear war, right? Thank you, Elizabeth. So I don't really buy Trump making all these security guarantees. Now, one possible security guarantee that Trump can keep is promising to give Ukraine a lot more weapons. Now, maybe we don't have a lot more weapons to give Ukraine at this point. So that's kind of part of the problem. But to give Ukraine a lot more weapons, and the hope would be that these weapons would somehow be a deterrent to Putin invading again next time, like in 5 years when he builds his military back up. Anyway, so that's that security guarantee. J.D. Vance, Mr. Couch Potato, he was opposed to U.S. aid to Ukraine as a senator. He told a podcaster earlier this year that he would like a demilitarized zone at the existing front lines that would be heavily fortified to prevent Russian incursions. So basically, he would put troops, but I'm sure not American troops, in between the Russians and the Ukrainians, and I guess just call a ceasefire, and that's that. Finally, Rick Grinnell, my favorite Twitter troll, another Trump advisor, talked about creating autonomous zones in eastern Ukraine. He did not explain any more of what that would be. What that sounds like is, which I do not like, a quasi-recognition of Russia stealing eastern Ukraine and saying, well, now eastern Ukraine is going to be an autonomous zone. They don't quite belong to anybody. Well, that only benefits Ukraine. I mean, it only benefits Russia at that point. UN peacekeepers, Pete, I think UN peacekeepers is a bad idea because nobody cares if UN peacekeepers get attacked, right? Russia invades and plows over UN peacekeepers. Is the UN going to declare war on Russia? No, right? You need NATO peacekeepers. You need the peacekeepers from the strongest countries on earth. Maybe even Chinese peacekeepers, really. But you need people where if Russia attacks and kills them, they are a tripwire that forces war to break out. That's what you need. But the UN, the UN peacekeeper sounds like a nice idea. I'm with you on that. Thank you, Bryce. Thank you, Cracker. But nobody cares if Russia invades and wipes them out. People do care if NATO troops get killed by Russia. Then you've got a war, right? Which would deter Russia from invading. All right, next story. This was kind of interesting. Coffin casket prices in Russia have soared 74% since the start of the war. 3 years ago, the most recent invasion. I thought that was kind of interesting, just as a kind of data point, not just on the Russian economy, but also the number of Russian dead from the war. That there's so much demand for coffins, it would seem that the price of coffins is going through the roof, kind of creepy. European Union announced today some good news that they are going to basically step in and they're going to step in to basically support a loan if Trump kills it. The U.S. agreed with the European Union to like a $50 billion loan to Ukraine, 50 billion with a B, okay? Loan to Ukraine. And part of it is financed with the frozen Russian assets, the interest from the frozen Russian assets. The U.S. had to agree to that because the U.S. has a lot of the assets. The concern is Trump may pull out and just say, no, I'm not going to do it, right? Because, thank you, Jetta, because basically Putin is going to, Putin owns Trump, and Putin's going to make Trump lift all the sanctions. What the European Union came out today and said was if Trump does that, they will find a way to continue the loan, which is good. So let's see if they actually can pull that off, but it's at least good to hear them promise that. Let me have a quick sip of Corzo is asking how many Russian soldiers have been killed. We don't know exactly. We know the total number of casualties on the Russian side. And when I say casualties, it's a military term that means dead and wounded combined. Casualties are not just dead. In civilian terms, we think of a casualty as being, oh, there were 100 casualties, 100 people died. In military terms, it kind of annoys me actually because it seems very imprecise. But in military terms, a casualty is dead or injured and taken off the battlefield. So we know that the NATO estimates over 700,000 Russian casualties from the war, dead and injured. Number of dead, conservatively 100,000, maybe more like 200,000. Hard to say, but probably 100,000 to 200,000, especially when you look at the number of Russian dead. The number of Russian dead has been rising significantly recently because the Russians have been going crazy in terms of doing these sort of suicide attacks practically on the Ukrainian positions, and they're losing a lot of men. Well, 1/3, Sam says 1/3. I seem to remember at the beginning of the war, maybe some of you military folks can help me, but at the beginning of the war, I remember being told that typically when you have like the casualties, 1/3 of the casualties are killed, right? We don't know because they're estimating it, but when we're talking 700 to 750,000 Russian casualties, that would be 250,000 killed. The numbers are all over the place because we're trying to estimate it. That's why I'm saying 100,000 to 250,000. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's 150,000 or 200,000, because also what we know from the beginning of the war as well is that Russia's sort of logistics for medicine was terrible. They didn't bring enough doctors and things because they just thought, I guess they thought they were going to win right away. So they didn't bring enough medical vehicles, ambulances. Men were just dying. They said the Russian, at the beginning of the war, meaning Russia invaded in 2014, but the beginning of the second invasion of 2022, that the Russians didn't bring enough medical care. A lot of soldiers were dying in that first day. They were the first hour, actually, they were saying like the golden hour, which was like the first hour or so after you're injured, severely injured, that if you get the right treatment, you will live. The Russians did not have the right treatment. So a lot of their troops were dying who didn't even need to die. Now we've got the Russians throwing their men like crazy. Thank you, Daniel, at the front line, risking their lives unnecessarily, which means they've got to have had an increase in deaths again. So anyway, I would guess that the estimates are probably on the higher side. Thank you, Red, for the gift. Appreciate that. Keep the gifts coming, guys. This was interesting. So Medusa, which is a Russian and English language independent news website headquartered in Latvia, reported today that Russia's losses may begin to outpace speaking of Russia's losses, their enlistment rates, meaning they're losing more men than they're bringing back, through new enlistment. Listen to this. Basing the conclusions on expenditures on sign-on bonuses and early research, Medusa estimates that the Russian military signed between 500 to 600 new contracts per day. So they're signing up new men, 500 to 600 a day. This would be less or barely enough to cover Russia's irreversible battlefield losses, estimated by Medusa at 600 to 750 a day. Now, Russia's having more casualties than 600 to 700, but they're saying irreversible. So basically killed or injured so significantly that you're never coming back on the battlefield. And that the Russians are, according to Medusa, probably not bringing in enough men to make up for their losses, so that eventually Eventually, it will catch up with them. But having said that, correct. MJ says, but they brought in the North Korean troops, which is a good point. Good question on that, whether I'm going to guess Medusa's not counting the North Korean troops. Now, the North Korean troops aren't that many, though. It's 12,000. That's not bad. But Russia's looking at, well, okay, if they're losing 600 to 750 a day, irretrievably lost, so meaning killed or injured where they can't come back. 600 a day, 10 days is 6,000. 20 days is 12,000. So 20 days would be all the North Korean troops. So the North Korean troops would only fill 20 days worth of losses. Now, that gets spread out over several months, so it might help a little bit. But I wonder if the North Korean troops are helping them in some specific areas. Now, actually, you know what? I should caveat that. I had also read a different article saying that even though 12,000 North Korean troops are there right now, the plan is to bring possibly as many as 100,000 North Korean troops, not at one time, but to bring them and keep, bringing them in and bringing them out. So you've got the 12,000 troops. When 1,000 of them get killed or injured, you bring in another 1,000 troops. Now you're at 13,000, right? You lose another couple thousand, you bring in another 2,000. Now you're at 15,000. So that possibly 100,000 North Korean troops would come to Ukraine over a gradual period of time. So yeah, it is going to help the Russians stem some of their losses and make up for the manpower. Yep. Syria. So the Syrian advance is still going on. Syria, as you know, is falling apart at the seams, which is generally speaking a very good thing. Syria is run by a dictator, Bashar Assad, at least for now, maybe not much longer. His father was the dictator before him from the early 1970s. Their family has run Syria for 50 years. Brutal, murderous dictators. I mean, horrific. His father wiped out, like, I forget if it was 15, 16,000 people, whatever it was, in one of the towns back in 1982 or so. I mean, just wiped out the town, just killed everybody. His son did something similar a couple different times using sarin nerve gas, just killing thousands of people, children. We saw this. I mean, this was during the Obama administration. We all saw the videos. I mean, probably a lot of you have seen these horrible videos of children, foaming at the mouths. I mean, just horrific nerve gas deaths of these kids. And so he's a brutal dictator. Well, he's getting overthrown. He's not overthrown yet, but he's not doing well. The opposition has been, I was sort of reading today on this, really building themselves up over the last several years, training everything else, also working on a lot of their alliances with all the other people in the area. And they're taking over the country. They took over the second largest city last weekend, which is big news. They, I believe, just took over, or they're taking over Hama, which is another huge town one of the biggest towns in Syria as well. They're now starting to pick up a lot of the Russian equipment that was given to Assad, the dictator. So they're now picking up a lot of good equipment, including equipment that we'd like to get our hands on. This was the story today. This is from the Telegraph. Syrian rebels have captured a Russian surveillance radar system near the city of Hama in another significant blow for Assad's military capabilities. The Podlet K1 antenna vehicle was among an array of military hardware reportedly captured at the military base of an elite loyalist unit regarded as one of Assad's most effective. The low-altitude surveillance radar system can track up to 200 targets at a time, particularly those that are low-flying, and it is vital both to local air defenses and Russian domestic protections against Ukraine. So it's an incredibly important radar system for the Russians to use for their own national defense in the war. The loss of the $5 million radar system is also a concern for Russia, with a risk it could fall into Western hands, compromising the country's air defenses in the face of increasing Ukrainian attacks. Podlet K1 radar is crucial for detecting cruise missiles such as the British Storm Shadow and Ukrainian Neptune. The Storm Shadow are the cruise missiles the Brits have given to the Ukrainians and only recently told them they can use to fire into Russia. So this is one of the radar systems that would be used to stop these British cruise missiles from being fired into Russia. If we can get our hands on this system, the Brits and the Americans and others can start to figure out how to work around the system, which is great. Yeah, Tucker Carlson's interview is out. Nobody really cares. I mean, I'm not knocking you, of course, but Tucker Carlson, who's a former Fox News guy, something's wrong with him. He's, he's a far right troll. I really don't know how to even describe him anymore. He is super like obeisant to Putin. Like he gets on his knees and bows before Vladimir Putin in Russia. It's really weird. Terrified of America doing anything to defend ourselves. Loves Putin. Has what he used to. He lost a TV show because he had sexually harassed people and stuff. Oops, lost his show. Sorry, got fired by Fox News. Also got fired by Fox News because he cost the network $800 million in a lawsuit because he had lied about the election results, and he backed up Trump's claim about the election being stolen, which was a lie, and they lost in court. But Tucker went to Moscow to interview Putin. And remember, he went to Moscow to interview Putin because why don't we hear from Putin? No one tells us what Putin's saying. Shouldn't we listen to Putin? We should listen to Putin. And he goes and interviews Putin. And Putin turns around and says it was the stupidest interview he ever had. He goes, I thought they were going to be difficult questions. They were very easy. I was bored. So it was like, oops. Oh, well, sorry. Well, Tucker's back again. He's back in Russia. I saw a clip yesterday. He's in Russia, and we're closer to nuclear war than we've ever been in all of American history. No, we're not. We're really not. He's an idiot. Again, the thing is, he's not an idiot, is the thing. He's not an idiot, which therefore makes you wonder what is motivating him, because he's not stupid. Stupid people might think we're closer to nuclear war than ever. We're not. He's smart, which means what's he doing? Why is he doing it? Why is he lying? Right? He's smart enough. He knows we're not close to nuclear war. He knows the Russians are evil. So why is he doing it? Who knows? Anyway, but so he's back. He's back, and he interviewed the foreign minister or something stupid. And again, literally, we're closer to nuclear war than we've ever been. No, we're not. Like we're really not. Why? As I've said before, why would Russia launch nukes against us? That'd be idiotic. If Russia launched nuclear weapons against us, we would respond and launch our nuclear weapons against them, and they'd be gone. Our weapons would literally take Russia off a map. Why? So therefore, why would Russia do that? It literally kept the peace for 70 years. It's called mutual assured destruction, MAD. Ironically, it's called MAD. And it is the notion that we've got nukes, so they got nukes. And most importantly, thank you, Marsha. Thank you, user 336. Most importantly, it is impossible for us to wipe out all of their nuclear weapons, and it is impossible for them to wipe out all of our nuclear weapons, especially our nuclear submarines. So what would happen is we would if we decided to attack Russia first, a lot of their nukes would survive on their submarines. They would respond and wipe us off the map. If Russia decided to attack us first, they could attack all of our cities. Fine. Maybe they'd get away with it. Our nuclear submarines would survive, and our nuclear submarines would literally wipe Moscow and St. Petersburg off the map. 15, 25% of Russia's, actually 25% of Russia's population gone immediately. Why would they do that? That would be stupid. And they're not. And by the way, they're not crazy. The Russians aren't crazy. I mean, it's a genocidal dictatorship, yes, right? But they're not crazy. So why would they do it? They wouldn't do it. Yeah. So I mean, no, it just upsets me. All of these idiots with this. Oh my God, we better kowtow to Russia. Oh my God, they're like the far. The thing is, the MAGA Republicans have become the far left. Sort of the crazy far left we had to deal with in the 1980s, where everything was, they agreed with Russia, with the Soviets about everything. The Soviets were the good guys. America was the bad guys, and it was the far left back then. Now it's the MAGA right. Now it's the Republicans who think America can't do anything right, and all of America's enemies are right, and we should bow down, right? Don't stand up to America's enemies because we should be scared of them. Let's be scared. So, anyway. And this was interesting. So final story, this is kind of an odd one. German peacekeepers could be deployed to Ukraine to enforce a peace treaty. The German foreign minister, said this today, that basically, thank you, who is that, DNC Warrior, thank you, that basically as part of a peace deal, Germany would be willing to add peacekeepers to the forces that go to Ukraine to keep the peace. Now, the German Chancellor Scholz, of course, came out and went, no, No, he won't. No, he won't. The thing is, he is a lame duck right now, meaning the German elections are in February. As of right now, he's not winning. So it doesn't really matter that he says no. The guy who's running against him, who's at least until recently they think may win, is very pro-Ukraine, and very well might be willing to send troops for peacekeepers. So anyway, that's interesting, Noah. Noah says regarding the Syrian rebel group, I've heard the rebel group has been going to great lengths to show civilians they are no longer terrorist affiliated. Yeah, the rebels in Syria, unfortunately, a lot of them, the main group, used to be part of Al-Qaeda, which is bad. So yeah, not a good thing. But they're trying to be better. Chris, who is it? Is it that? I thought that Andrew guy was a troll. I wasn't sure. Yeah. Okay, you got him. Good. I thought he was a troll, and I saw one comment, and I sort of have a rule where, generally speaking, when people troll and it's not 1,000% obvious, I always tell the moderators, give them one more time, because if somebody's here just by troll, I mean people who come just to be idiots. They come just to, like, literally they come here just to make you angry and disrupt things, call you names and stuff, right? You can always tell, because if you're not sure the first time, wait for their second comment, because they can't help themselves, because literally they're here to just cause trouble. So you give them a second comment and they will always prove who they are because they're not here to be nice. So it's not like and if somebody literally puts one comment you're not sure about and then the next comment is okay, then maybe we were wrong, Can we mod Jens? Where? Yeah, here? Oh, okay. I will. Hold on. Oh, interesting. Hang on. I just saw that. Thank you, Jamie, for the gift. Wait a minute. Can minutes words and change chat mods in live? Oh, minutes words and change chat mods in live. Now this is interesting. Hold on. I think, Manda. Oh, it's not letting me. Wait, I'm going to remove you and add you back. Hang on a second, Manda. All right. There's two different kinds of managers. Can change chat modes in live. Can change chat modes in live. Okay, not sure. I made you a super moderator, Amanda, though I'm not quite sure what it does. So, wear your power. I know who Jens is, yeah. But wear your power nicely. No, wait, I did add Jens already. Is it? I'm not seeing the. Oh, he's got to make another comment for me to. Yeah, a cape. He's got to make another comment before I can see. He's got the little wrench next to his name. Superman. Do I see an end to the war? I can't see how it ends anytime soon. Alex, you mean the Ukraine war? It's a stalemate. I mean, the Russians are slowly doing better, but it's slow. It's a stalemate, and frankly, it's a stalemate because we wanted it to be a stalemate. We didn't want Ukraine to win. No, we wanted Ukraine to win. Biden was afraid. The Germans were afraid. The French were afraid that if Ukraine won, Russia would get a bloody nose, and Russia has nuclear weapons. And oh my God, what would they do if they lost? Oh my God. So we gave Ukraine enough weapons to stop the Russian advance, but not enough weapons to push Russia out of Ukraine. And now it's a stalemate. Both sides have dug in. The Russians are doing a little better. It's not good. It's not good. So I worry that the war ends by Trump coming in and cutting off Ukraine and making them accept a peace deal that's bad, making them accept a deal that basically gives Russia all the land it's got. And Russia waits 5 years, builds up its troops, and they invade again to take the rest of Ukraine. And then we're all back to where we started. So that's what worries me. So anyway, so that was it for the news. Now we're in the hangout portion of the show. So we can talk about anything. Yeah, the French government collapse. I don't really have much to add to it, though, Russell. Macron said he's going to appoint a new prime minister in a few weeks or whatever. I don't necessarily have much to add, though. Do I think the Russians have ambitions beyond Ukraine? Oh, absolutely, Alex. The only thing is, thank you, Mikey, for the gifts, by the way. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Appreciate it. The Russians want the Soviet Union back. Now, that doesn't mean they want communism back, but they want what the Soviet Union represented. The Soviet Union was Russia holding 14 other countries hostage as one big country called the Soviet Union. But it was really more or less run by the Russians, and everybody else, most of the other countries were hostages, right? The Ukrainians didn't want to be there. Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia didn't want to be there. Georgia didn't really want to be there. And the Russians held them all hostages. Russia wants that back again. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Jeremy. They wanted their, they want more land, right? They were, when they were the Soviets, they were all powerful and scary. Now we laugh at them. We worry about them because they've got nukes. They've got weapons. Thank you, Crystal. So, we've seen in Ukraine what the Russians can do. They can cause a lot of damage. But, Russia was our great enemy during the Cold War. It was Russia. It was Soviet Union versus America. Russia's not our great. Russia's our enemy, but they're not our great enemy. It reminds me of college football. Thank you, Jonathan. When I'd hear, people say like, "Oh yeah, you're our great rival," from another school, you kind of look at them and you're like, "No, you're not." Like, no one at my school thinks you're our rival, right? It's kind of the same thing. Russia still wants again to be on a par with America, and they're not. They're not. They failed. So yeah. Yeah, Alex, I don't agree. Alex says, what do you say to the angle that NATO moved eastward? So that's the argument, and you get it from the MAGA people in frankly, the Russians. Oh, we had to invade Ukraine because NATO was moving east and threatening us. Well, a couple different things. NATO hadn't moved east in like 20 years. So, all the countries near Russia that joined NATO joined like in the 2000s or whatever. So NATO hadn't moved in 20 years. Why did Russia 20 years later have to invade to stop NATO, right? Right? If you were afraid of NATO expanding, then you should have invaded when NATO expanded, not wait 20 years when it's not expanding. Second of all, part of the argument of NATO expanding is Ukraine was going to join NATO. They had to stop it. Ukraine wasn't going to join NATO. Ukraine's been trying to join NATO since 2008. From 2008 to 2022, NATO basically told Ukraine to go F itself. Okay? Basically they did. The Ukrainians have been trying since 2008. NATO said, screw yourself. It was actually the French and the Germans, I believe, who did it. Said, go F yourself, Ukraine. We don't want you. So Ukraine wasn't joining NATO. As far as more generally, there's also the argument of NATO didn't expand east. The Soviet Union held 14 countries hostage as part of the Soviet Union. It was Russia. Russia held 14 countries hostage. They literally ate their neighbors, Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and grabbed them and said, okay, you're not independent anymore. Now you're going to be part of this thing called the Soviet Union, and we're a brutal communist dictatorship, and we're going to kill all of you. Okay? That's what the Soviet Union was. The second thing the Soviet Union did, they grabbed half of Europe, and they imprisoned half of Europe for almost half a century. After World War II, the Russians grabbed Germany and carved out they grabbed Germany. They grabbed Czechoslovakia, Romania, Hungary, Bulgaria, Poland. And they carved out communist dictatorships in these countries. Horrific dictatorships. Again, killed as many people as they wanted to. And when the Soviet Union finally, thank God, went away in 1991 because the Russians lost the Cold War, the countries that were hostages as part of the Soviet Union, Ukraine, Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, they all became free and said, oh my God, NATO, please protect us, from the guy that was holding us hostage. Eastern Europe did the same thing. East Germany, the Germans, but you've got, thank you, Marcia, thank you, Becca again. You've got the Eastern European governments that were being held hostage by the Russians, that the Russians put communist dictatorships in those countries and just murdered their civilians. They became free. Czechoslovakia became two countries then, Czech Republic, Slovakia. Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary. They became free and they said, NATO, these guys have been holding us hostage for 50 years. The Russians have. Please take us in and protect us from the Russians. So yeah, NATO allowed these people to join our alliance when they begged us to join. I think for the Russians to call that NATO expansion, NATO didn't expand towards Russia. Russia's hostages fled. and they ran to the police and they said, oh my God, protect us from the guy who took us hostage. That's what happened with Eastern Europe. So that's the other problem, is even if the Russians were telling the truth, and they're not, about why they invaded, they didn't invade because of NATO. They invaded because they want to take Ukraine. The Russians don't think Ukraine is a real independent country. The Russians think Ukraine is a fake ethnicity. They've said this. They think the Ukrainians are really Russians. At the beginning of the war, the Russians said, the Ukrainians are really Russians. They just don't know it. And we're going to invade and we're going to educate them about the fact that they're not really Ukrainians. There's no such thing as Ukrainian, which is bullshit. That's why Russia invaded, because they want the land. But if it were even true that NATO expanded and Russia didn't like it, too freaking bad. NATO expanded because Russia held, God, 25 countries hostage. And when those 25 countries broke away from Russia, they ran to the West and said, please protect us from the bad country Russia that held us hostage for 45 years. You know what? You hold a country hostage as part of the Soviet Union. You hold a country hostage like the Russians did in Eastern Europe for 50 years with communist dictatorships. You better expect, once those countries become free, that they're going to run to whoever they can to say, protect me from the guy who just violated me. So that's my other concern, is I think it's a bunch of bullshit when the Russians make that argument, because even if NATO expanded, it expanded because the Russians did a very bad crime and their victim asked for help. And you help victims of crimes when they need help. So that's my response. Anyway, it would not be. Would a trade for held land for an assured peace like NATO? I'm not sure what you mean by that, Jeff. Let me try to interpret what you mean by that. The only way to guarantee peace is to have some kind of NATO protection for Ukraine. The Russians want all of Ukraine. Literally, the Russians don't think Ukraine exists. They think it's Russia, and they want it back. They want to become like the Soviet Union again. They want to start eating their neighbors up and to become part of Russia again. So Russia's going to invade again in 5 years, 10 years, when they build up their military. No matter what the peace plan is, Russia's going to invade again. How do you stop that? You stop that with NATO troops. Either Ukraine becomes a NATO member, so that if Russia invades Ukraine again, all of Europe goes to war against Russia, maybe America too, depending if we have somebody as president who's not a wimp. The other possibility is NATO peacekeepers. Maybe if you had NATO troops in Ukraine and the Russians, let's say there's a peace agreement, whatever the agreement is, there's a peace agreement, and NATO troops get put in Ukraine, in strategic locations, so that if the Russians invade again, they have to kill NATO troops. That's called a tripwire in national security stuff. And the idea is that the Russians would have to kill NATO troops to invade Ukraine. And as soon as they did that, they'd be at war with those NATO countries. The Brits, the French, the Germans, Norwegians, Poles. And as soon as that happens, all of NATO goes to war. So both of those could be ways of guaranteeing the peace. But you'd have to have some kind of guarantee to stop the Russians from invading again. So it almost doesn't matter what the details are, meaning Ukraine and Russia can agree to anything. That's not the point. Russia will start the war again unless we make it so that they fear invading Ukraine. And I think the only way they fear invading Ukraine is because Ukraine either becomes a NATO member or Ukraine has NATO troops there as a tripwire, so that Russia would have to attack and kill NATO troops to attack Ukraine and thus risk going to war. So thank you, Frank Thomas, for the fest burst. Is the land important for Ukraine? I mean, yes. You'd have to ask the Ukrainians about that, but Ukrainians will tend to, think about it. Would you want to give up part of your country? Right? No. From the Ukrainian perspective, they don't want to give up their land. It's literally giving up their land, right? Eastern Ukraine, Crimea, that's sort of the problem, We didn't talk about South Korea today because I don't think there's anything new today. Breaking news in London at 1 a.m. What's going on in London, Alex? Um, but yes, correct. There's a lot of oil and there's oil I know around Crimea, and rare earth metals in eastern Ukraine, I believe. Do I think Russia will ever get rid of their government? I don't know. Oh, sorry, Alex. That's okay. I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence in the Russian people rising up and doing the right thing. It's been, how many hundreds of years that the Russians have had really bad governments, bad sort of authoritarian governments, from the Tsars to the Soviets to now this. I mean, this seems to be what they like. And they don't seem to rise up. They rise up occasionally. The Russian Revolution, that was 1917. But otherwise, 2011, there was a little bit of hubbub. But I don't have a lot of confidence in the Russians kind of rising up and doing the right thing here. They would literally have to overthrow their government and by the way, they had a chance. When the Soviet Union dissolved in 1991, Russia had its chance. They could have become a democracy. They could have joined Europe and become a European country. And what did they do? They became a kleptocracy. They became a mafia state for most of the decade. And then Putin came in and turned it into a dictatorship again. Basically, just like the Soviets, kind of like the Soviets. I mean, the Soviets were worse than Putin, but turning it into another dictatorship again. It's like, great. I mean, it's very, I think it's very sad actually, because, if Russia in the 1990s had decided they wanted to be free, they wanted a free market economy, they wanted a democracy, they wanted to truly join Europe and become a European economic partner, a cultural partner with Europe, that would have been amazing for Russia if they were willing to do it. But they didn't. It's like, oh well. What else? So I'm looking at the comments here. Well, it's funny too, because you guys will have comments amongst yourselves. So it's hard to jump in the conversation. What else, guys? Oh, let me see here. All right. Yep, I'm just looking at things here. Back is not better. Nope. But I'm going tomorrow for a little steroid injection in my back. So hopefully we'll see. It may help. It may not help. We're going to find out. The month agreement. What agreement is that, Diana? First of all, look, the Trump people, the MAGA people, no longer represent America's interests. So they are certainly going to say Ukraine started the war because they work for Putin. So of course they're going to say that, but so, what do you want me to tell you? These are bad people. We know that, and they lie. Joe Rogan's doing it now. This is what they do. They just, for whatever sick, I don't even know what the month agreement is, but it doesn't really matter. The point is they're always blaming Ukraine for the war because it's what they do. They basically work for Russia. So big surprise there. Oh, the Minsk agreement. Oh, that's funny. The month agreement. This is all just Russian bullshit. Every bit of it is Russian bullshit. They love to get into all these details. Russia invaded because Russia wants all of Ukraine. Did NATO expansion cause Russia to go and kidnap thousands of Ukrainian children? Which Russia did, which the International Criminal Court has indicted Putin, right? That's why Putin can't travel anywhere, is because the International Criminal Court put out a warrant for him because he ordered the kidnapping of thousands of Ukrainian children. They stole Ukrainian children, brought them to Ukraine to turn them into Russians. You know what I mean? Is that did they do that because NATO expanded? Did they do that because Ukraine violated the Minsk agreement? So what? So you had to kidnap thousands of children? Right? The story yesterday from the Financial Times, the Russians are using Ukrainian civilians for target practice in Kherson, in one of the towns. They in order to give the soldiers practice using drones to kill people, they're going after civilians and killing them. Thousands of them. 9,000 drones, I think they said this year alone, going after civilians in that town to kill them. so the soldiers can get practice. I mean, did they do that because the Ukrainians violated the Minsk agreement? No, they did it because they're bad people. I mean, that's the thing. Yep. Exactly. It's always free to not steal kids. Exactly. It's just, the Russians have done so many bad things in this war, and frankly, so many bad things in every war they've ever been in, that I don't think they, what's the word I'm looking, there's a legal term I'm looking for. The presumption is not with them. So one should not presume that Russia is telling the truth. One should not presume that Russia is somehow wronged, and that's why they're in this war. Russia has shown time and again they lie, they're underhanded, they break international law. And they want to expand, and they want to take their neighbors and expand, just like during the Soviet years. So let them argue what they want, but the presumption is that they're lying, and they better prove it if they're trying to prove that they're not the bad guys. They don't have clean hands. That's another way of putting it too. Yeah, thank you, JR. Thank you, Anne, for the gift as well. Necromongers? I'm not even sure what that means. It's an interesting word, though. Oh, that's interesting. You need to move mining machinery to Russia, was escorted by Putin's presidential jet. That's weird. That's crazy. Huh. Weird. What else, guys? She comes in. No, I watch her. She comes to the door. It is cold, but she likes to walk around a little bit. My dog is on the patio being cold and of course, looking for more sticks to eat, which is what she does. I'm sure she's doing it again. Oh my God, I'm just going to kill her. It's like, and it's cold. And it's cold too. I always got to knock it. And she comes back to the door like, oh, okay. Come on in. I know you're trying to eat sticks. Get in here. I at least let her go for a second because, it's like get a little, it's like a little wanderlust or something. Get it out of her system, I let the dog go eat a stick or two and then come back in. Anyway. Oh, I know. Well, I'm always keeping an eye on her because it's freezing out. Bucha's a good point too. That's a good Adventures mentions. Look at Bucha. When the Russians went and just slaughtered civilians in this town, innocent civilians, did they do that because NATO expanded? Did they do that because Ukraine violated the Minsk agreement? No, they did it because they're genocidal dictatorship, and this is what they do. So one should not give them the benefit of the doubt that they're telling the truth and that they have a legitimate reason for doing what they do. There's no legitimate reason for slaughtering civilians, which is what they do. So more auctions will go up soon. Yep, Joe. Today I was starting to just sort of catalog, because I've got the last two auctions I'm packing up. So I had to sort of catalog them today, and I just started packing them. You can actually see them behind me. I've got this is one of the Legos. So tomorrow I hope to put the new auction items up. Yes. Because I want to do another round. So maybe there's a chance we can get some more before Christmas, maybe. French government shakeup. Yep, I saw that. I'm just not sure what to say about it, Jada. I'm not necessarily up on French politics like I used to be. But the French government sort of got knocked down, vote in parliament. They're going to appoint a new prime minister soon. Unfortunately, this gives more power to Marine Le Pen, who runs the kind of quasi-fascist wing of the, sort of far right in France. So that's not good. But beyond that, not sure what else to. Riddick. I've never seen Riddick, Emil. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. Actually, I only just discovered last night that there was a Battlestar Galactica movie, like The Plan, which I sort of stumbled on Netflix or on Amazon Prime, and I was like, ooh. So I'm starting to watch that. I don't know if it's any good, but it's from the Cylon's perspective, which is very interesting. So I'm very excited. So anyway, what else here? What else? Good evening, motivated hustler. Fan of The Office. I never watched The Office. I've seen it, but I've never really watched it. I probably should. I know everyone loves it. Chronicles of Riddick. All right, I'm going to write this down. I've heard of Chronicles of Riddick. I just know nothing about it. Hold on. Chronicles of Where can I watch it? Like, what system is it on? Thank you, KT, for the gift as well. Thank you, Courtney. It's a trilogy. Oh, it's a trilogy. Okay. Yeah, but The Office, I know people love The Office. I just never really watched it, but I know people love it. I probably should give it a chance. Series of movies. Okay. Huh. Is it sci-fi? Great comfort show. All right. But yes, the right wing is certainly on the rise. We'll see. But Sisu, no. What's that? Pitch Black? Do I have to look up the movies individually? I can Google and see what they are and see where to even watch them. The UK office? I don't know Sisu. No, I don't know it. Google says it's on Stars. That doesn't help me. Vin Diesel. I like Vin Diesel. Riddick is sci-fi? Okay. Well, I'll have to look and see where I can find it, if I can find it. I mean, I could always buy it if I have to, I've watched V for Vendetta. That I've watched. I've watched that. It's a great movie. Thank you, Al, for the gift. Keep them coming, guys. What else? Battlestar Galactica shows, the movies were okay. The movies were okay. Yeah. Although the shows I thought got a little weird after 2 years. They got a little bit, I finally watched them again the other year and it was okay. But I thought season 3 and 4, whatever, were a bit, they lost their way. Thank you, Colin. Like Battlestar Galactica, I was even watching the movie. What bothered me about it was I don't like TV shows that I watch and I can tell the producer or director or whatever it is pulling shit out of his ass, basically. And I hate that. And you can tell that they're just making it up. And I remember Battlestar Galactica, I could just tell. He was just making, like, who was going to be a Cylon? He just fucking made it up. And you could tell one week he went, oh, how about that person? Because I remember I then read an interview with him. I forget the guy's name, the Battlestar Galactica guy. And I read an interview with him, and he goes, well, we had this whole storyline with this kind of colony that was very religious. And then halfway through the season, I thought, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. So they spent half the season building up this other thing. Thank you, Colin. Thank you, Anne, by the way. And he just got rid of it, changed it, and decided, he goes, and I thought, let's give the president cancer. I was like, what? And I knew it. And so I get annoyed with Battlestar Galactica because you can tell a lot of it's bullshit. The guy he did it on the fly, exactly. He just made stuff up. And you could, like I said, who was a Cylon? He totally made it up. And I think he pulled it out of his ass as the show went on. Because some of it, there's no even groundwork of them being Cylons that you look back and go, oh yeah. He totally just said, let's make this person a Cylon year 2. And it was like, oh, okay. 3-Body Problem, I have watched the English version. I tried watching the Chinese version. It killed me. Thank you, NJ. It was just too, ugh. I found it a little disturbing, a little bit, 3-Body Problem. But I watched it. I will keep watching it. Thank you, Norway. Appreciate it for the confetti or the joy bean. Oh, sorry, there was an NJ with the confetti, Norway with the joy bean. Thank you. Blacklist. I don't know Blacklist. I don't think so. Foundation series. What is that? Asimov. Really? Well, I'm writing these things down. It's always good to get new suggestions for TV. Georgian opposition leadership got dragged out of the office onto the street. That happened yesterday. Was there more today? But I did see that yesterday. Schitt's Creek is one of the best TV shows out there. I never watched it because I thought the name was stupid. And then I finally gave it a chance and I was like, oh my God, I love this show. So damn good. But I don't listen to podcasts. No, I don't, Carol. I just don't listen to them. I think because I work at home, listening to a podcast would be like listening to the radio. I'd be sitting there going like this, it just would drive me crazy. Stargate SG-1, we all still watch, Robert. The problem is I've watched it so many times that I almost have to give it a break and come back because I've seen it too many times. See you, Nick. Thank you, Norway. But I love Stargate SG-1's amazing. Another fabulous show. So Apple TV, I don't get Apple TV, unfortunately. So that's too bad. Wired or The Wire? The Wire I tried, but I only watched one episode. I got bored, but I know it's supposed to be good. Wired, I don't know what that is, actually. I don't know what that is at all. Breaking Bad, I've never seen. Heard of it, but I don't know anything about it. Oh, Michael's mentioning Breaking Bad as well. So did WC. What about it? Firefly was amazing. Yep, Firefly and Serenity were amazing. That was sad. Breaking Bad is good. You know what it is too? I think sometimes I try not to start a new series because I don't want to have like 7 years to catch up with. Although that can be kind of fun too. Discovering new shows. Or I'm writing Breaking Bad down. Discovering new shows can be kind of fun. Sanctuary, I gave up on it. I got bored. Better Call Saul, I've never seen. I know of it. Falling Skies, I tried. And didn't they like end it mid-series or something? They canceled it, I think I watched most of it. Dune, the original, ugh. Peaky Blinders, I never gave a chance. Dune, the movie now is okay. I mean, it's done well. I'm not loving it. I find it very slow, and a little bit somber or something. Game of Thrones is to die for, of course. I've watched it twice. Fallout? Yes, Fallout was excellent. Fallout on Amazon was absolutely excellent. I was surprised. I started watching it, I was like, Outlander I liked a lot, actually. Lupin? I've heard of Lupin. I liked the 100. I thought the 100 was good. A little cheesy, but well done. The Bear, I don't know. Falling Skies, I don't know if I gave up before there was an end, maybe. I didn't mind the last season. I know a lot of people did not like the last season of Game of Thrones. Didn't bother me. People felt like the same thing. It was kind of thrown together, like they just did stuff, But, yeah, the 100 was never, the 100 was never Stargate SG-1, but it was good enough. The Witcher, excellent. That's coming back with a different Witcher now. He left, Oh, Silo, if you like Fallout. Okay, I'll write it down. Silo. All right. I'm going to have to write these down again where I can read them. But yeah, Witcher was very good. But again, he's leaving. Cavill is. I've heard of Lupin. I know. I do hope the new guy is good. I'm actually enjoying Rings of Power. I've sort of seen iffy reviews of it. I'm enjoying it. So I thought it was good enough. Breaking Bad, okay. I'll give it a try. Grimm is good. I finally watched, I didn't watch all of Grimm the first time around. I finally watched it all a couple months ago. Grimm is good. The Expanse is excellent. I got a little confused the first time I watched it, and then I tried again, and then I liked it. Handmaid's Tale, excellent, but it falls quickly. I still feel like I have to keep watching it, but it's not as good. It's not as good anymore, unfortunately. Orville, I never could get into. Loved Rings of Power. Don't know Hollywood. Travelers. Oh, I saw the listing of Travelers, but never. Isn't it like Will and Grace is there or something? I saw him there and I went, huh? Unless I mix it up with a different show. Black Mirror is okay. I find it depends on the episode, but I should give Black Mirror more of a chance. Hollywood, I don't know. Yeah, I saw Will from Will and Grace and I went, huh? But I'm sure, it's still worth trying. Gracie and Frankie, no. I mean, I'm sure I'd like them though. I like both of the actresses. I've never gotten into the animation shows. I've tried, like Lower Decks, I tried. It something about it being animation, it just is kind of like not, I don't know. It throws me a little bit, kind of weird. Burn Notice I've heard of. Wheel of Time, I don't know. I'm going to need to, like I said, write all of these down somewhere. I'll write these all down somewhere neater so I don't lose them. Your husband says it's on Prime. Okay. I just wrote it down. Oh, a lot of people. I like sci-fi a lot. I like other genres. I'd have to think otherwise, but I really like sci-fi a lot. But beyond that, I'm not sure. You know? American Horror Story, I liked the first couple of years, and then I got kind of bored. You know? Arcane, I don't know Arcane. Anybody? Julie's asking, is Arcane any good? Outlander, I thought was great. Outlander is a chick flick, but I really enjoyed it. You know? Svengoolie, yeah. He died. Didn't he die recently, Svengoolie? Lower Decks? Okay. I'll have to give it a try. It's definitely not for kids? Okay. I'll have to give it another try. Yeah. The Fallout series is fabulous. I really enjoyed. I was very impressed and surprised with Fallout. And the like twists and turns were kind of like, whoa. The Boys, I liked the first season, and then it kind of got on my nerves. I stopped watching. I loved Outlander too, you know. Fallout. Oh, you haven't seen Fallout, Robert? Oh my God. Fallout's very good. Very well done. I mean, it is based on the game, or the computer game, but it's very good. Yep, I will give Lower Decks. Expanse is fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. Spy movies are okay. All the Viking stuff is excellent. I've watched all the Vikings series. There's a number of them. The Vikings, and I'm forgetting all the other ones. There's like 3 or 4 or 5 of them. They're very good. Most of them are very good. I liked them. They're kind of, what do you call it? Like historical fiction or whatever, a little bit. So like they're true to the era, but the story itself is a little, you know, like the lead character I think was fictitious. But I really, The Last Kingdom, that's one of the other ones. Yep. The Last Kingdom was another one. They're very, I just found them very interesting. Like I just as historical fiction, basically. Squid Game, I liked, but it also creeped me out a little bit. It was a little creepy. I haven't seen Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. I've heard of The Mentalist and Dexter, but I don't know them either. The Americans is fabulous. Original Star Trek, I do try to watch occasionally, but it can be a little. Walking Dead, I dropped halfway. It was too slow. And I loved it, but it was way too slow. Veep is one of the best TV shows ever, Lucas. Absolutely one of the best TV shows. I mean, Veep is funny because it wasn't realistic, but it was done well because it had a lot of advisors who knew politics. So it actually was, it was realistic in a political sense, but it was over the top. You know, sort of like what's it called? You know, with Mulder and Scully, where they described the show once as being a world that's almost like our world, but it's not, right? The X-Files. They described it as, the director described it as something like, it's almost reality, but not. It's reality in which if some of the conspiracy theories and things were real, then it would be, right? So it was just off of reality. And I'm trying to think, what were we talking about? We were talking about one of the shows where I was going to say the same thing. Not the Americans, Veep. Veep is very much based on reality, but it's over the top. So that it's not real, but it's almost real. It's very well done. I think the politics and everything is very interesting in Veep. Yeah, very well done. Oh my God, the humor of the writing of that. I have to watch it again. The writing of that show every week. Oh my God. Silicon Valley was quite good too. Too much swearing, too much unnecessary swearing. I mean, it was annoying after a while. But very well done though. Sense8 was good to a degree. Sense8 had a problem where like the directors thought they had to like, I mean, the sex stuff was ridiculous. I mean, it's a really amazing series that ends with a picture of a dirty dildo. I mean, it was vile, like absolutely vile. They would just throw in some like disgusting sex scenes to like be It was weird, but especially that. I mean, literally, I didn't even want to say it. Like they literally, that's how they ended the series. And you're like, oh, that's nice. A picture of a dirty dildo. That's absolutely disgusting. So what is it? Those two women who did it, I think, are a little messed up in the head. But best political show was West Wing. That is true, Robert. Yep. West Wing was very realistic with, again, a little bit of a twist, meaning West Wing was if you know, West Wing was very realistic in many ways, I would say. Yes. I mean, I never worked in the White House, so I shouldn't say that. But knowing Washington politics, it was very realistic. And West Wing is one of the best TV shows ever, certainly one of the best political TV shows ever as well. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. Thank you, Eileen. Narcos, I never gave a chance. Oop, who gave Mrs. Toad again? Thank you. Ted Lasso, I never gave a chance. I've heard Ted Lasso is very good. West Wing, I've watched West Wing so many times. And give the entire series, it up until the end, it's excellent. Designated Survivor, I did for a while and I got bored eventually, but I liked it for a while. Deadwood, I never tried. But yeah, West Wing, oh my God, I can't even. I will say, okay, my claim to fame of West Wing was that, God, I'm actually trying to remember. I'm trying to remember how it started. Basically, I and some friends launched an activism campaign against this woman, Dr. Laura Schlesinger, back in the year 2000, who was super anti-gay, among other things. And they were giving her a TV show. And we launched a campaign to boycott her TV show. And we got the show killed. We got it killed in Canada as well. The Canadians joined in. I mean, we had tons of people volunteered to help. So like we were the 5 or 6 people running it, but it was massive numbers of volunteers in Canada and elsewhere. And we got the show killed. And as part of our campaign, somebody, I can't remember who, somebody had written an email that it was an anti-gay, it was a fighting the anti-gay people, because the anti-gay people would always say, like, you know, the Bible says you're wrong or whatever. And somebody wrote an email, because back then, people don't do it as much anymore. Back then in like the year 2000, when email was just beginning, people would share funny emails and this kind of thing. And somebody wrote an email that was all about, the Bible says, or I understand you say homosexuality is bad, but the Bible also says that, you shall not play with animal skin or something like this. So is a football bad? And it went through all these things. Well, I remember taking that, and I think we made it part of an email. We did something with it. It's been 25 years now. We did something with it to get it out there, and it went super viral online because we put it out there as part of our campaign. And the people at West Wing picked it up and did a West Wing episode, which was, I think West Wing, it wasn't the first episode, was it? Was it the first episode? I'm trying to remember now. The Dr. Laura episode of West Wing. God, maybe it was the first episode, when he sits there and he chastises this religious right woman, the blonde woman, and says, should I sell my daughter into slavery? That was because our campaign took that email and made it go viral. And they saw it and wrote the episode about it. I mean, it was, we crapped our pants when we saw that they did that. We were like, oh my God. Yeah. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. I still don't know the story of who on West Wing saw that and did it. I do not know when it's going to snow. Nope, Jacob, I have many powers, but that is not one of my superpowers. What was the other? Lost in Space was excellent. Could have been longer, but was excellent. I don't know Yellow Jackets at all. But yeah, it was wild. Yeah. And we won. But what else? But Dune, I've seen the Dune movies. They're good enough. They're very well done. I think they're a little slow and a little kind of, I don't know. There's something with the Dune movies that's a little, I don't know. Quantum Leap, the original series was good. I never saw the follow-up one. Aaron Sorkin did a documentary on what? On West Wing or what? I hear you, dog. Not yet. See, the YouTubers got her. Yeah. Oh, look at it. Oh, look at her. I'm giving, okay. I'm getting the look here. I give you guys, I'm getting the look here. There we go. And I got the look and the wine, like Little Miss Sunshine. I never saw. I never saw. I know they can't, a lot of shows that I liked were canceled. You know, I'm forgetting what some of the other ones were, but I had a number of other little shows. I've never seen Little Miss Sunshine. I know of it. Oh, a little more. Okay. Dog wants water. One moment. One moment. Hey. One moment. All right, dog. More water. All right. All right. There you go. Okay. The temperature here is 28 degrees. And with the wind, they're saying tonight it's going to be like, whew, maybe the single digits with the wind chill. Horrible. I remember, who was it? I had some foreign friend visiting once that I had to explain wind chill to. They were not amused. They were like, what do you mean wind chill? I'm like, well, the temperature's really 32, but it's going to feel like 10. It's like, what do you mean? Like, well, because they were from somewhere that isn't cold. So like when you're from somewhere that isn't cold, wind chill isn't a thing, you know? But I was like, yeah, it's even worse. It's even worse. Did he? Oh, I'd love to hear what that. Oh, that's interesting, Robert. I'd love to hear that about the scene. That's really interesting. Wow. Scandinavian crime series. Actually, you know what was excellent too? Marion, my friend Marion, who I went to Russia with years ago. Marion turned me on to Borgen, Borgen. It is a Danish series about politics that is excellent. And what's interesting is I'm writing Paris Has Fallen Down. I will check it out. It's a very realistic telling of politics. And even though it's about Denmark, it's totally accessible. Like it totally makes sense as an American watching it, which I found fascinating. Very good series, Borgen. Very good. So highly recommend that. Italian series, my brilliant friend. Oh, that sounds fun. My brilliant friend. This is good. I've got to write. I hope everyone else is writing these down. I'm writing them down on my note. I've got them like all over my notes. I'm going to have to like retype them on my computer so I can find them. Yeah, Borgen was just amazing. Yeah, Esty, really good. Yeah, Mike, you'll like it. It's really good. I can't think what else. I just watched Charmed again, the original, because I like Charmed. Hankies. I carry one, but I use it more like to wipe myself. I don't really use it for my nose. And when it's cold out, occasionally I'll use it as a necktie, hankies. But Lilyhammer? I don't know that. No. Huh. Don't know. Lilyhammer. All right. Oops. I'm writing in a way that I can't read. There we go. Don't go. You're not going out again. Don't you? No. No, you're faking it. You're faking it. I know you. Really? It's cold out there. Seriously? All right, fine. Fine, go. Fine. I still think she's looking for sticks. She's like, I can brave the cold for 45 seconds and get a stick. Primeval is about dinosaurs. Sasha wants stick. That's exactly what's going on. Like I don't know what she's up to. You know? Oh, that's funny. No, she loves to go out all the time. And even though like I get worried because it's 28 degrees. So I'm like, that's what I keep looking because I'm like, all right. Okay, seriously? I'm seeing you. Get in here. I'm literally seeing you chew this stick. Are you insane? Oh my God. She's so bad. I mean, I'm like, I really want to go on the balcony. Okay. And I'm literally, it's like she's 3 feet away from me and I'm watching her on the ground chewing. Like, are you insane? God, well, no, because like I also don't want her to get sick from it because she's small, you know, that you can get impacted and God knows what. Oh my God, she's terrible. But like, I just fed her dinner. She shouldn't be hungry. This is not a thing. They use sticks to brush their teeth. Yeah, but she also like, you know, goes to the bathroom and a piece of stick comes out. She's only this big. You know, I'm just a little afraid of her getting sick. Lilyhammer's a spinoff from The Sopranos? Really? Oh, the balloons. I don't remember what is this. Do balloons? What did the balloons? No, that's the thumbs up. What did the balloons? Oh, that's the balloons, the peas. I didn't do that though. That's very funny. That's funny. DIY teeth brushing. Yeah, maybe. She's eating. She's just trying to find more food. You know, oh, is Callum here? Did Callum deign us with his presence? Hard chew toy. Yeah, she's got hard chew toys. She doesn't use them anymore. You know what I mean? I would get them. She'd chew them like for a second and then stop. It was like, okay, you know. Oh, that again. All right, I gotta stop putting. It's like I keep doing this and it's throwing balloons at me or whatever. We've got to see. There must be a couple other hand signals we haven't tried. I can't remember what. Did we do the okay? What were some of the hand signals? Was this one of them? No, on YouTube. Nope, that's not doing it. The peace sign. Oh, that's confetti when you do both peace signs. I'm forgetting. Okay. All right. I know sometimes you just gotta have a stick. Exactly. Hello, you. Hello, you. Oh my gosh, I know. Oh my gosh. Bending over to pet her. Anywho, anything else, guys, or should we call this quits? Oh, we've been going almost an hour and a half. Primeval. I do have it written down on my list. Okay. I've got that down here somewhere. Oh, I just wrote it down. I'm just hoping I can read what I'm going to write this down more neatly. I'm just hoping I can read what I wrote. All right. Pull Dark, I haven't tried. That's with what's his name for the vampire thing. I've been meaning to give it a try. I know that's supposed to be very good. Madam Secretary, I watched for a couple of years and got tired. But oh, it's not YouTube. It's the camera of my. It's the camera. Wait, I'm using the camera on my phone though. It's the camera of my phone that's doing all the. Get out of here. Seriously though, all the like funny stuff that pops up on my YouTube is because of my phone. Not because I'm using my phone as the camera. It's not because of it's an iPhone Mac thing, but it is showing it to you guys on YouTube are seeing it though, right? Oh, I did not know, but the YouTube people are seeing it though when I do it, right? Oh, how interesting. Oh, that's funny. Okay. An iPhone thing. Interesting. Well, thumbs up we did. Thumbs up it shows a thumbs up bubble. Two of them, and then two of them do fireworks. Yep. We only found like 4 or 5 things though. I don't know if we found anything else. Thumbs down. Oh, thumbs down makes a rain cloud form over your head and it rains on you. That's really funny. Oh, your face turns dark and it starts raining. That's very funny. That was very cute. The thumbs down. We discovered a new one tonight. Mr. In Between, excellent black comedy about an Australian assassin. Oh, weird. Okay. Interesting. What network has the best shows? I don't know. I mean, oh God. Prime Video and Netflix, there's a lot. I am very happy with Prime Video and Netflix, to be honest. Bunny ears? Not doing anything with the bunny ears. Nope. Nope. Nothing with the bunny ears. Nope. Rick on sign? You mean rock on? I think I did that. This? Nope. Nothing with this. Nope. Nope. Hulu, people do like Hulu. Heart, I think we did Heart. Does Heart have something? Yeah. Oh, Heart just does hearts. That's okay. That's cute. Little bit cute. Point finger and pinky. No thumb. Finger and pinky. Oh, you mean that? Oh, it does. Oh, that's funky. Oh, it did a whole like rock concert thing. Oh, that is funny. I see. You're right. Okay, that's very funny. Okay, that was very cute. But devil's horns, it ought to do a devil thing with the horns. That would be very funny. It does not, though. Okay, hello, you. What are you doing? I know you want attention. I took Sasha out today, but we did not do a very long thing. I thought it was a YouTube thing. It's an iPhone thing, apparently. People say, yeah. I haven't been to a Metallica concert. Like, I never liked Metallica. I must have. I'm a progressive rock kind of guy, new wave. I am not Metallica. Nope. I do like the. I'm trying to remember who was it that I like a lot. Who was very good. The oh, I'm forgetting. I like some hard rock, but not really. Like the oh my god, I'm forgetting who the group was. There was a group that I liked that was kind of hard, but I liked them because they still bordered on not progressive or new wave, but they were kind of no. I love Pearl Jam, of course, of course. The oh my god. No one like you. Who is that? The oh my god, I'm forgetting the name. It's not the Oysters. What the hell was the name? The oh, with an O maybe? Shoot, it's kind of a hard rock group. Scorpions. Thank you. Julie got it. Scorpions, exactly. Like I like the Scorpions. Even though the Scorpions are harder, but I don't know what you classify the Scorpions as because I don't put them in the like metal category that I can't stand. I like the Scorpions though, because to me that's like I don't know what do you call it though? Because to me it taps into my like new wave kind of like 1980s hair metal. Well, are they 80s rock though? I feel like they're a little sharper than just rock. Scorpion TV, hair metal. I've never heard of hair metal. That's interesting. Okay. I like the Scorpions. Yeah. Classic rock. I know when people call it classic rock, like Scorpions is not classic rock. I mean, I guess classic in the sense of it's old, but Scorpions are hard rock. Yeah, they'd be hard rock, but it's still hard rock with a little more of a twist to it because I don't like hard rock necessarily. Like, I could listen to some of the big hard rock bands. AC/DC I don't love. I really don't love AC/DC. Are the Scorpions German? I didn't know that. That's probably why I like them. Are they German? Yeah, Metallica, Nirvana, to die for. Yeah. Like I also like the German group. Something Fry is this the song. Rammstein, exactly. Rammstein. Wait, I don't listen to a lot of their stuff, but I like that kind of almost punk, kind of a punk. It's punkish. I like that, but it's punk with a good beat kind of thing. Like you want to dance to it, very much like that. I've always liked, like I said, my big coming of age was progressive rock and new wave in the 80s. And that makes me happy. And I can go a little bit harder with the Scorpions or the Rammstein and that kind of stuff. Fur Fry, however you pronounce it, Jens. The Kinks were good. Yeah, Kinks were okay. Yeah. Hair rock. I've never heard hair rock before. That's funny. Oh, excuse me. Never heard it. Journey's okay. Yeah, Journey's okay. Linkin Park is good. Journey's okay. Some Journey. What's the one sort of? I think it's Journey. The one, the one sort of big famous song that I do love. It's just a city girl. That song. That's Journey, I think, right? Midnight train going anywhere. Love that song. Guns N' Roses. I don't follow Linkin Park anymore, so I haven't heard any new stuff. Might Be Giants. Sure. Yeah, Don't Stop Believing. Great song. Reggae, never got into. But all the UK bands, fabulous, of course. Yep. REO was wonderful. I loved REO. REO was one of the first bands I loved. Very good. I hear you, dog. What? Oh, just wait. Come on. She wants more water. I'm like, although it is 7:36, we're going to quit in a second here. But female lead singer. Who had a female lead singer? REO? Hair metal was Motley Crue, Whitesnake, glam. Yeah, see, like I wasn't into that. The look I wasn't into at all. Motley Crue I did not like. Violent Femmes, To Die For. Yep. I see what you mean by hair metal. Yeah. Like, Linkin Park has a new Motown. No. Linkin Park has, okay, I haven't heard Linkin Park in years, though. Linkin Park was, I mean, I liked them. The Cure, To Die For. Yep. But yeah, lots of other music too. So like, I was thinking Joe Jackson for some reason right now. Joe Jackson's excellent too. Again, different kind of music, not as Cure, but beautiful music from Joe Jackson. The voice. ZZ Top, never watched. Bob Marley, no. CCR, Nickelback, people knock Nickelback, but I remember looking up their songs and liking some of them. So I think I do like some Nickelback. Limp Bizkit, I don't remember enough what the music was, though. Yeah, Joe Jackson, I mean, God. Some of I'm forgetting what the Joe Jackson I had was, Breaking Us in Two, like that album. Oh, my God. Ooh. Just beautiful stuff. I hear you, just wait. I think she wants to play with Brutus, the neighbor dog again. We shall see. All right, guys, it's an hour and 40. I think Michael Jackson, I never loved Michael Jackson. Thank you, Randy Fred, for the gift. But I really love, Beat It is good. I love, Thriller. Great. Just, I always forget, is the main song Thriller? I forget the name of the main song. I love that song. Because it's such a the video is amazing, and just the beat and oh my God. But otherwise I've never been into Michael Jackson. But a couple of the songs, yes. I appreciate Michael Jackson. There's a lot of his music that I'm like, yeah, it's nice. But Thriller, like, to me is like a just love it kind of song. Amazing song. Anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to call it quits. We've been doing an hour 40. All right. So thank you for joining us. I will sign off. I will be back tomorrow night, assuming my back isn't weird after I get my steroid injection in the middle of nowhere in Maryland. But the dog is sitting here waiting again. She's waiting. But I should be back tomorrow night. Worst comes to worst, I'll be around Saturday morning, 11 a.m. for the monthly subscribers. So join us for that. Thriller was the most expensive video clip of all time. Not surprised. Is it called Thriller? I forget. I always forget. Is that the name of the song? Because I thought it was the Thriller video. Yeah. John Landis. Interesting. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, no, it should be fine tomorrow, hopefully. Till the junk be gentle, I know. I mean, it's a little creepy because it's one of those where, like, it's kind of a nothing procedure, except all of the warnings are like, you could have a stroke. It was like, oh, Jesus Christ, like, paralyzed. I mean, you're like, all right. But usually that doesn't happen. So you're kind of like, all right, great. But what do you do? The finger, got to do something here. So, but yes, I should be back tomorrow night. Otherwise, Saturday morning, 11 a.m. I'll be back. And look at her, boy, she is just going to sit here and milk it every bit she can right here. The dog is just like, she's hanging here waiting. It's like, all right, exactly. Burp, burp, Russell. All right, guys. Have a good evening. I'm going to sign off. I will see you hopefully tomorrow. All right. And I'm going to go play with my dog before she gets upset with me. She is adorable. She's just a demanding little biatch of a dog. She owns me and she rules my life. But yeah, the side eye. Actually, she is getting side eye though. That's in fact what she's doing now. She's sitting here watching me, but turning a little sideways. So she's not quite looking at me. Yeah. Okay. I hear you. Oh my God, such a diva. All right. I'm going to go. I'll see you guys. Thank you. All right. You guys too.